up to speed with the business now. Elena Casas is here with me in the studio. And France's new finance ministers have been in Germany today saying, listen, we can pay back our debts.
Indeed. Hi again, Laura. Yep, that new team in charge of France's finances already worried the Germans a little. The finance minister, Michel Sapin, last week called for more time to bring the deficit under control. It now stands at 4.3% of national output when the EU treaty limit is 3%. And France has already been granted one two-year extension. But in Berlin today, Sapin did step back from asking for more time, saying France will meet its budget commitments through both cuts and growth.
Plus de compétitivité pour les entreprises.
We will need to have more competitiveness for companies in order to have more growth, but also necessary budgetary measures, which will be tough and brave, but which we will apply in the coming years.
Nous assumerons pleinement pour faire en sorte que l'ensemble des engagements pris par la France puissent être ainsi respectés.
Now, if France is to meet those EU obligations, that leaves the new government with a dilemma, forced to make unpopular spending cuts. President François Hollande has promised 50 billion euros of savings over the next 3 years, and the new Prime Minister, Manuel Valls, is set to outline where he will find them in a major speech on Tuesday. Delano de Souza has the details.
French Finance Minister Michel Sapin promised tough and brave decisions ahead. In January, French President François Hollande pledged budget cuts of 50 billion euros, and now his government must deliver.
The bulk of public spending is on social security, particularly on health. We can do better, and with less money.
Social Security may see a cut of 23 billion euros. Hospitals will likely be restructured and generic drugs encouraged. Local authorities could face cuts of 10 billion euros. To ease this burden, the sharing of local services between communities will likely be pushed. The public sector may also have its budget trimmed by 17 billion. To cut costs, state agencies could be expected to merge, and an ongoing freeze on civil service pay will likely see a 2-year extension, something unions say is unacceptable.
The freeze of salaries for civil servants has been on for 4 years. For us, there's no question of there being a 5th year. I firmly say it's enough.
Prime Minister Manuel Valls is expected to announce details on the government spending cuts on Tuesday, while major announcements are planned for next week.
Let's have a look at the markets now then. We've seen a fairly dramatic sell-off across the board here in Europe. The FTSE in London and the CAC 40 here in Paris both closed just over 1% down. The DAX in Frankfurt 1.9% down. Over in the US, the markets are also sliding. Again, it's tech firms like Twitter seeing the worst sell-off. The Dow Jones there down 0.7% and the S&P down 0.8% a short time ago. Time for some companies news here in France then. French cement manufacturer Lafarge inked a merger with Swiss firm Holcim on Monday, creating a construction giant with a joint stock value of over 40 billion euros. Both shares have soared since the deal leaked on Friday, with Lafarge shares up 9% and Holcim by 6%. And bad news for China as the World Bank trims down its growth forecast to 7.6%, blaming weak exports in January and February. The move will put pressure on the government's efforts to rebalance its economy in favour of domestic consumption, over fears the Chinese economy could collapse under its debts if it can't keep up its current rate of growth. And staying in China, Bill Gates says China's millionaires aren't giving enough to good causes. Last year, China's top 100 philanthropists donated $890 million between them. Now, that's less than the amount Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg gave to charity alone. Now, Gates has told an audience in Singapore the Chinese rich must embrace philanthropy. It remains to be seen how that will go down. In 2010, Gates invited 50 of China's richest people to a donors' dinner, and about a third turned down the invitation. That's it for business news. Back to you, Laura.
Elena, thank you very much indeed. Elena Casas there with the business news. Well, no need to go trawling the internet to find some good stuff now. We've got all the best bits for you in web news. We'll be back right after.